to introduce Christy Sabo. And Christy, welcome. I'm so glad to talk with you.
Thank you so much, Lynn. I'm happy to be here today. Appreciate you having
Yeah.
me.
And you make the most amazing product. It's Temptation Aromas, and I'd love for you to tell everyone about your product and then give us a little bit of background. Let's start with that. How did you get started and what inspired you to create your product line?
Well, I got started in the business a few years ago when it just seemed kind of complex and I felt distant in a way in my relationship with my husband. So we set up a vacation and went to a spa with nice tropical flowers and all that, and we were met in the lobby by this wonderful fragrance, and we had a great time. And later we went to their spa and it was an even more romantic fragrance, and it was a really good time of reconnecting. So when we came home, I said, I wonder, there must be other people out there that feel that way, that especially up here in the Pacific Northwest, we finally had some sun. But when you don't, how can we have that great feeling at home? And I looked into importing it, and that was just prohibitive with bringing fragrance in. So then I thought, hey, maybe I can make it. And that started a journey that I didn't know would lead me into how much is out there in fragrance that is not good for us and that we use every day, dryer sheets or air freshener for a room. And so those two things have married really. And I say that Temptation Aromas is just a spray away relaxation, and it should bring that into the home, but you also don't want to fear a fragrance. So we strictly create three formulas in right now four aromas, and they're meant to be a spa luxury that you can bring home and have no fear, know that they're safe.
Yeah, well, that is such a big distinguisher because I really appreciate what you've brought up because there is so many toxins in fragrance. And just saying
There is.
fragrance, it can be like literally thousands of different things. And so, can you tell me a little bit more about your products and what makes them really, truly unique and special in the market?
Absolutely. The journey has taken me kind of with a fitness background and then bringing that into fragrance and saying, how can we do this and have candles and scents at home that are healthy for us. There's an International Fragrance Association, and it the research, they've looked at what items are either need to be limited to be safe or completely restricted or banned. And so that's called the IFRA, and that's international. So when I source my products, I source them only from the USA that meet that I IRFA standard. I said that wrong. The IFRA standard of safety, and and then that way anyone who buys from me, they know that it's met U.S. standards by being sourced in the US, and that the fragrance itself is safe. So I, that way I know I'm supporting businesses within the US and predominantly here in the Pacific Northwest as well, but with that healthy approach.
Yeah. No, I think that makes all the difference, honestly, for this. But also, then what you're doing in creating, just this full sensory feeling in your home.
It is. I feel that you should be able to come into your home and if it's an air freshener spray, or spray is versatile, it can be used on linens, textiles, it's pet safe, it's children safe. You can sit down to do your relaxation, whether it's your yoga mat or whatever, grab a bottle, a little spray, and then take your time for yourself. Or maybe you're busy, you're rushing out the door and you want to go somewhere, with just a little fragrance, you can spritz, walk out the door, and know that you're not creating a safety hazard for those around you. And I don't like to be impactful with the fragrance. It's subtle enough. You're not going to walk into a room and have people saying, whoa, what just happened. So
Yeah. Well, and you've carefully formulated the formulas of the fragrance that you do have.
I have. I've right now, like I say, I've got four special fragrances. I've got the namesake itself, Temptation of blackcurrant vanilla, and then a couple of other spa types. And in the last year, I also came up with one. I call it Mystique. It's a local lavender from Pacific Northwest, and then some notes of coconut and a little bit of rosemary to give it kind of an earthy freshness. And that has been well received in the marketplace. I have that then in, like I said, the spray or body lotion, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. And I also have a body oil that people can use just as a body oil massage, or men use for beard care. So I just do those three: the spray, the lotion, and the oil, and in luxury fragrances. And we're starting to be found in a few stores. That is something I'm working on. So the lotion, what makes it special? It's just been reformulated, just come out in within the last 6 months, and I looked for an organic, strictly organic creation, and I was able to find one that had olive oil, and it has beeswax in it. So I call it my slow sink technology. And unlike some lotions, you put it on, this one does take a couple of minutes to sink in. And then it enriches that skin, that protective barrier that we've got. And with the antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties from the beeswax, that combined with a few super ingredients like L-carnitine that helps your collagen remain healthy and that protective barrier, and vitamin E, it's a very on purpose lotion. So it took the spa factor and combined it with some science and creative there to bring them together for a wellness luxury product. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Very intentional too, what you're doing in creating that.
It is. It's been fun to create, and then to see how the market is receiving it. I just had someone today say, I need to get more. Where can I get it? And I'm like, go to my website. I've got a lot of free shipping. So
That's amazing. That's so wonderful. And when you're meeting with clients or potential wholesalers, et cetera, to put the product on the shelf, what's one of the things that really has been impactful for you in the sense of sharing your product and the community sense around it as you're out marketing your product?
I think the thing that I run into, and just yesterday, I met another lady that is great, and I didn't realize just how sensitive to fragrance she is. So even though my things are natural, some people are allergic to, say, lavender, for instance.
Yeah.
And you have to be aware of all of those things as you're bringing, especially when I'm at a market and you can smell the products and everything. But what I love is how many people are starting to become aware that there are differences in fragrance, and I hate to see people have to be afraid of them. And so the first thing I like to talk to people about is synthetic fragrances right now. If you don't know the maker, I would stay away from them too. And that was what I was discussing with the woman yesterday. And she has an even higher level of sensitivity than I had run across yet. And so I was able to learn from her, and we're going to work together to see, how things might work for her.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
great.
yeah, that's amazing. And I know that, that as you've also really engaged in um, uh, community in the sense of other business owners coming together, whether it's at networking events, mastermind events. Um, what's one of the things that has really stood out for you that has made a difference for you and your business?
There are so many people out there that have wonderful passions, and they come out in different ways. It, it's, it's great to meet women that are about, if it's real estate, that they have that customer in mind. And then I'll meet someone, like yourself, with sales information, and it's about empowering and helping. And mine is a product based business, but I like to see how we can work together and bring things out there to make them easy for women to trust, to use, to interact with each other. And there are so many people worth meeting, and it feels really good to be bringing something to the table that they can relax and enjoy and bring into their life with everything else that they're doing,
Yeah.
family and business and connecting.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's one of the really beautiful things within eWomen Network is that you meet it's not there's so many different people in the room. As you said, it can be real estate, it could be a CPA, it could be an attorney, it could be somebody
Yes.
who's doing massage therapy, it can be a mindset coach, a sales
Yes.
strategist. I mean,
Yes.
selling product, all the different things. And I'd love to hear, you know, you, a, a networking success story out of eWomen Network with someone you've either connected with or who you're collaborating with or, provided you with a piece of inspiration for your own business.
Well, I've met several. They've been really good, even in the very, very short time that I've been involved with the eWomen Network. And so, just one, for example, yesterday, a massage therapist, slant life coach, and the depth that she's taken her practice, and different than others, into lymphatic health, and it was really wonderful. We just met for about an hour to find the depth that she has gone into, if she can create a space for people and knowledge for them to be able to take on, have their body be more healthy, to do everything else they do. What a powerful person, and great connections. It's
Yeah.
been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, and you're going to be coming to the Women's Success Summit
Yes.
on Monday, April
Yes.
13th, and you're going to be bringing your amazing product. And so I'd love to hear about what you're bringing to the Women's Success Summit.
Thanks. I'm going to bring a little bit of all of it with me. I package in bottles, and I do that because plastics is something I try to stay away from. So of course it still has the plastic pump, but not very much. So I'm bringing some of those bottles. I'll bring sample for people to be able to try, especially something that for the very sensitive, they'll be able to smell the four aromas and see what fits for them. They'll be able to look at the ingredients if they're like me, and they're going to read every label and just sample it. So there'll be a little bit of the spray there. We probably won't be spraying it just to keep
Yeah.
things safe, but we'll have the lotion, we'll have the oil, and something that works for everyone there. And I do a display so that people can really come up and interact, and they'll have a chance to ask questions that they might have too.
Yeah. and that's going to be amazing. I'm so excited to actually get to try the product and look at them. So that's going to be wonderful. And when you think about this event with the amazing Sandra Yancey as doing our keynote speaking,
Yes.
um, who do you think should be in the room?
I would say business really can feel alone. There are so many of us that are, I call it a business of one, and we have such great tools so we can do a business in a big way and be either a very small team of one or even less. So I would say that woman that feels that they want to grow in some skills or in connection is so important. Just in the last 2 weeks, like I say, I've met several women and they've reached out and said, hey, you know what, you reminded me of someone else, and I think they might like your product or they'll know someone. And then I've thought of them and said, oh, you do this, and so does my friend over here does something that is kind of similar. Why don't you two see if you can connect and find? And so it all is like a springboard. We're not doing it all on our own. We can go find some like wonderful minds to connect with and cross courses.
Yeah. And that's one of the most amazing things about how we really show up to give first, share always, and lift as we
Yeah.
climb. And
Yes.
while you and I meet, I'm not your ideal client. I don't have a place to sell your product. There, who do I know, right? And that those
Exactly.
connections, and that's really an amazing piece. And I know that I'm really excited about Summit. It's just on Monday. What about you?
Definitely, definitely. It will be a great experience to be around other women, but then to hear what Sandra and others have to say. I think you can learn and absorb so much in just a few hours when you're in the right setting. And I think that this is the right setting to be able to be around powerful women that may have some piece of something I'm working on figured out, or say something a little differently in a way that I can use, and hopefully I think most of us could benefit from that.
Yeah. No, I know that I always, every time Sandra speaks, there's something that I go, okay, that I can use that this week in my work. So
Yes.
it's just that good. So I'm so excited to be with you on Monday, April 13th, for the Women's Success Summit. I went ahead and dropped the link in the chat for anyone who's tuning in and like to register for that.
Yes.
There's still
Yes.
time. In fact, today is the last day of the early bird rate.
Oh,
So you
I would
definitely
do
want to
that.
get the, yeah, want to get your ticket. And Christy, thank you so much. I know that women and men are going to want to know more about you and where they can connect with you, find more about your products.
Thank you, Lynn. I know you said you have the website. My website is Temptation Aromas. That's plural, temptationaromas.com. And I would look forward to connecting with anyone out there who has questions. The email address is there. And thank you so much, Lynn, for your time and your interest.
Oh, I'm thrilled that you were able to do this with me and that we can get the word out about Temptation Aromas. It's an amazing product. And this amazing woman, Christy, who's building this business. And that's what it's all about. Once again, let's lift as we climb.
Yes, yes, together.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Goodbye,
All right,
everyone.
thanks.